Hello everyone, welcome back to this game. My name is Draygone Jr. and these are some of my patrons. Snow Kieran, Hideru, Theo Vellum, and a special thanks to my special sponsor, Lit Dragon. When we last left off, I found one heck of a glitch. The short story of that glitch is if you go into the Swamp Palace right down here and you play into part of it but then quit midway, when you come back to the dungeon, the front door is locked and the key is already used up, so you can't continue the dungeon, thus making it impossible to finish the game. It was certainly an interesting glitch, but apparently it was not as interesting as I had hoped. That video did not get as many views as I was hoping. Mind you, I wasn't hoping for that many. I was hoping for maybe 100, but at this point it's only got 18, which is basically how much these videos generally get. That's kind of depressing, because I put a lot of work into that video. Since I was expecting people to come to this undocumented glitch for a really popular game, I wanted to make sure that the video had really good first impressions, and I wound up recording it like 4 times. But alas, it did not bring me the popularity that I was hoping. Oh well, my Let's Play shall continue on like normal. For the most part, anyway. Things are going to be changing at some point, possibly, but I'll get into that detail when it becomes a little bit more important. For example, in the next episode of Variant, I'm probably going to bring it up. But right now, in this Let's Play, I'm going to get hit by a spear, and then run into said spear, because I am not the best person at this game, but you probably know that by now. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and work our way back into this dungeon. Oh, and by the way, in regards to the boss's weakness and the fire rod, turns out that the boss is not weak against the fire rod. In fact, the fire rod causes the exact same amount of damage as the ice rod. Basically, it kills the boss in 4 hits. And so does my sword. Mind you, it's my upgraded sword, so the fire rod and ice rod would be useful if I didn't have my sword upgraded already, but since it's been upgraded, yeah, it's not worth going after the fire rod first. Anyway, what we have here is basically the first water dungeon of the Zelda franchise. That's kind of cool, and thankfully, this dungeon is not at all complicated, unlike the dungeons that we see in later Zelda games. Later water dungeons, I should say. Like, we all know that one dungeon in Ocarina of Time. Although, as far as complex water dungeons go, I think the one in Majora's Mask is far worse than the one in Ocarina of Time, because you have to deal with water currents and you don't want to wind up going through the wrong passage, because then you have to try to work your way back by reversing the flow, and it's complicated, and I have never beaten that dungeon without using a guide. At least the water temporal in Ocarina of Time I can beat without a guide. Not without missing a certain key, but I can beat it without a guide. Alright, you know what? I got all these spells. Let's go ahead and clear this out, because I don't feel like trying to worry about getting electrocuted by those things. Well, I didn't completely kill them. I think the Bombos medallion actually would have killed that red one hit without splitting it apart. Let's see. I want to go through here because there's going to be a key. And there's the key. So we'll just head right up here, and here's where we start having some water coming into play, water levels. Because if we're going to have a water dungeon, we gotta play with water levels. I mean, we already played with water levels to get into this dungeon, Now we got even more of it. While that bomb's exploding over there, I'll go ahead and push this. And while the water is filling, it freezes the screen so that you can, like, watch it all flow up, and that's like a special effect, but it can't do the special effect while the game is running for some reason. So it freezes you. Which makes me wonder, I wonder what that must look like from Link's perspective. I mean, we already played with water levels to get into this dungeon. Now we got even more of it. While that bomb's exploding over there, I'll go ahead and push this screen so that you can, like, watch it all flow up, and that's like a special effect, but it can't do the special effect while the game is running for some reason. So it freezes you. Which makes me wonder, I wonder what that must look like from Link's perspective. I bet it's like the water is instantly filled, and it's like, whoa, that is some flowage we got there. Now that the water is filled, thankfully, by the way, you only have to fill things in this dungeon. You don't have to worry about emptying them back up. Wait, I take that back. There are places where you empty, but you don't have to, like, reverse the flow. When you have to fill the water, it's only filling the water. When you have to empty the water, it's only emptying the water. So you don't have to worry about screwing yourself over if you, like, fill it up too early. You can't do that. Or empty it too early, or what have you. Point is, it is not at all confusing. It is very much straightforward. That trench that I just filled up, that's all I had to do was fill it up and move on. And there's going to be another trench that I'm going to be filling up, and that's all I have to do. Fill it up, move on. And then later on, there's going to be a point where I empty a trench, and that's all I have to do. Empty it, move on. If only the other water temples in Zelda were like that. That fireball is confusing. It hits a wall and then it just goes in some random direction. You never know where it's going to turn. If there's a way to kill that, I have no idea what it is. Alright, let's see. I believe this is another point where we... Yeah. We gotta fill this trench up now. And to do that, we need to get this key and do a little bit of backtracking. Now, by the way, I want to point this thing out. That thing shoots fireballs when you swing your sword. And since it only does that when you're swinging your sword, it is ideal to defeat the enemies around you without swinging your sword. Man, this dungeon is really teasing that big old treasure chest over there. And that big old treasure chest has something really nice in it. I'm just gonna ignore y'all. And now that that's filled, I'm gonna go ahead and move this back. Because even though leaving those down would leave a little shortcut for me right here, I don't want that shortcut. Because there's a point later on where I want these up in order to proceed. So don't make that mistake. You gotta flip it twice if you want to proceed through this dungeon. Once to get to the switch, and once on your way out. If you only flip it the one time, you're going to discover that your passage is blocked and you gotta come all the way back. Gimme. Then we have these guys. I'm just going to ignore them. Actually, no. Let's wait for that blob to appear. And before I get hit by that skeleton, use either. That was close. That's all you do with these blobs, by the way. You freeze them. And as long as you don't, like, break it with your sword or something, it's just going to stay like that and no more are going to spawn. Is there anything in here? No. And this arrangement is the one we want to go ahead and push around. Then there'll be a slime. And that takes care of that. It's a good thing I got this medallion now, because now we're going to have a few of those blobs in here. Along with a gun, a beam shooter thing up there. Let's take care of these guys first. This room kind of sucks, because it is easy to take damage. Like, for example, when that thing suddenly zips around the corner like that. Alright, I'll wait for the right moment here. Okay. Ah, darn it. That did not work to my advantage. And the second thing is I'm going to have to come through this room twice. The first time, so that I can get this treasure chest, which has money. Anything through here? No. Ice rod. Because this thing is going to be respawned. Apparently it takes a moment for their hitboxes to turn off, which is why I got damaged when I was trying to freeze them up there. Let's try this again, but better. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Did I mention that room sucks? By the way, that room sucks. Alright, so this right here is why you want to flip that switch twice and leave those blue tiles sticking out. Because we got red tiles. If I hadn't flipped that switch twice, I would have landed there only to discover that those red tiles were up and then have to backtrack all the way to get those blue tiles down. Alright, found the big key. And now we gotta backtrack. There is a little bit of required backtracking in this dungeon. Again, the hitbox has a little bit of a delay with those things. It's only when they start shooting that they become a problem. Anyway, now that we got the big key, we can just go ahead and make our way back here and get that big old treasure chest, which has, like I said, a very awesome item. That thing's totally gonna damage me if I jump down there too early. There. Gotta make smart use of your items. Anyway, boing! This is the hook shot! It's the first game that has the hook shot. This is the game that the hook shot premiered. And it is definitely one of the best Zelda items. It extends and contracts and boing! It can grapple many things. What? No, that wasn't a rabbit joke. It was a hookshot one. Boing! That makes me wonder, did the original description also boing? I know in Ocarina of Time there's a description of someone saying boing, but I don't know if this game had boing. Well, anyway, with the hookshot, we can do this. And that is awesome. That's definitely going to open up a couple of nice passages in the overworld. In fact, it's going to open up that one where it was all, hey, you need the cape to get through. But it was wrong. You don't need the cape, you need the hookshot. Let's take care of this guy like the others. And lastly, now that we got this key, we can make our way through here. Now, do I have everything? Map and the compass? Yes, okay. Alright, I am on track to completing this dungeon. And I do not want to quit this dungeon right now because, like I said, if I quit now, that basically is going to make this dungeon impossible to beat. Hence, the game impossible to beat. Alright, I need to Aw, I was hoping for a twofer. Darn it. Couldn't tell that the other one was doing a thing. Alright, another weighted switch. Let's weigh it down. And if we come in here, this room sucks. So we're not going in here. Instead, we're going to try to make our way through here. Well, I know one thing that's going to make it easier. If only it got rid of that fireball. Which apparently cannot get in the water. Alright, first I'm going to check out the stairs, just to point out what's down there. Some underwater stuff. Hearts. Delicious. Aw. 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 Did I mention aw? Yeah, aw. I was really hoping that thing would stay on the switch because it did before. But apparently it only did before because I guess I was walking through the door that it was important to. In fact, I should test that theory. On second thought, no, I'm not going to test that theory. Let's just move on. Can I break this against the wall? Nope, bounces off the wall. Only way to break it is with your sword or something like that. Anyway, this is the real way we want to go. You know what? Let's go ahead and try out this hookshot on enemies. Because it actually works on enemies. Assuming they're not, like, inside the wall. Gimme. And gotta make sure your aim is good. Okay, grab this real quick. Surprisingly, no slimes here. So we'll go ahead and the water drains out. Let's go ahead and check out up here real quick. And it leads to this room. Just so you know. And this room, there's nothing of importance in here. There's nothing under the skulls. You can't pull the statue's tongue. Just ignore this room. Alright, in here, I'm going to have another one of those bouncy water things. Don't feel like using my magic this time. And here's this room where the water was filled. Now we can get to these treasure chests, which have more money. I'm going to want to spend more money at some point. Well, there's going to be a bomb that I can get later on. Oh boy. I know what to do in here. Let's see here. Push this, get another treasure chest with more money. And let's see. If we try going through this door, it'll be a dead end. I'm gonna try to not get to you, because I'm curious about something. Okay, yep, you guys only travel on water. All of you do. More importantly, I'm curious about the guys who keep popping out of that hole over there. How many of these guys can we have? It's hard to tell because they're all piling up on top of each other, but there's definitely a bunch of them. Well, let's try something out here. Let's quake them. And that basically just stunned these guys. Okay, so now that I killed that one grasshopper, more of them spawn. Oh, and by the way, they don't stay stunned for very long. So that was a dead end. What we really want to do is go through here. So apparently there's a limit to how many enemies can be on a map at a time. Or maybe how many enemies on screen at a time. Because, you know, of destroying that little water bug allowed another one of those guys to spawn. There is some sort of limit in place. Time for more hookshot. That's right. Just shish kebab yourselves on my sword. Now this room. Let's try to... No, I was kind of hoping to get all of them on screen. There's another one off camera, but nope, gonna have to deal with these guys like so. So this room has a current in the water. Because, you know, water dungeon, gotta have a current at some point. At least this current isn't very strong. Most Zelda currents force you in one direction and you have no way of fighting it. Alright, cracked wall here. There's definitely something behind it. By the way, if you try to attack these guys from on top of the ledge, your sword just goes under them. I don't know why it goes under them. You'd think it would go over them, because you're on a higher ledge. Or are you? Maybe there's like some weird physics going on here, and the water is actually on a higher level. Or maybe a weird perspective? Something weird. It sure is. Almost to the boss, right in that next room over there. Don't suppose this'll work. Nope, it's just too low. B! Seriously? Seriously. You disappoint me, B. You're supposed to be the good B, but you're not being that good at all. Whatever. Alright, boss time. So for this boss, we're going to want to use the hookshot that we just got, making this only the second time in this game that the item you find in the dungeon is required for fighting the dungeon boss. So what we want to do here is hookshot the popcorn that is protecting this boss and kill it. Not gonna eat it. It is stale popcorn. I mean, look at it. When you grab it, it's all moldy and stuff. Or maybe you're just splashing it in the water. Is this like toilet bowl water? If so, that's gross. Almost taken care of. You can see, by the way, why I was thinking that maybe this boss would be weak against a fire rod. Totally looks like, I don't know, maybe we'd have some calamari or something. Some sort of seafood. Anyway, once you defeat the last one, this guy starts bouncing around, and what you want to do is charge up your sword, and that'll be it. 2 charge attacks, kill it. At least when your sword is powered up to a carrot sword. It's too bad there's no special weakness to that boss, aside from the charge shot, but whatever. And with that, we are done with this dungeon, and we can safely leave it without worrying about the door locking behind us. The door will still lock behind us, but we're already done here, so it doesn't matter. Link, because of you, I can escape from the clutches of the evil monsters. Thank you. The Triforce will grant the wishes of whoever touches it, as long as that person lives. Interesting. I mean, Ganon has that Triforce in a lot of games, but there has been a few times where he's actually been killed. That is why it was hidden in the Golden Land. Only a select few knew of its location, but at some point that knowledge was lost. The person who rediscovered the Golden Land was Ganondorf the Evil Thief. Cool, so this is the first reference of Ganondorf before he became Ganon. Luckily, he couldn't figure out how to return to the Light World. That's not how it goes in Ocarina of Time. It's almost as though the story of this game and the story of Ocarina of Time aren't actually connected. Well, remember that you have magical powers which only the hero can make the most of. Indeed, I've been icing things up. Perhaps it was fate that created this form for you to live in. Implying that this is beneficial? Maybe because Link is a monster that grants him magical abilities. I kinda like that idea, actually. Whatever the case, you must continue to find the evils hidden in the Dark World. You are the only one who can destroy Ganondorf, the thief. No, Ganon, the evil king of darkness. Do you understand? Yes. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. Alright, that takes care of that dungeon. Just to double check. Wait, no, don't double check yet. The lake is still empty. Let's go ahead and double check by first leaving this map. And then coming back, the lake will be filled. And I'm going to do some editing out because I don't want to show draining the lake yet again on camera. Then again, we haven't seen what it looks like when you're frozen in time, emptying the lake and that sort of thing. So I guess I'll go out with it filling, and now we know what it looks like when you're frozen in time and this is suddenly filled. You know, I will say this. Even if this Let's Play is not getting a whole lot of attention, this is definitely turning into one of my favorite Let's Plays. It is so fun going through this game and seeing all the text changes. Not to mention, because I'm making sure to do a practice run before recording, and things are going to go smoothly, and this is definitely a Let's Play that is turning out well. Sure enough, this door is locked again. So it's a good thing we're already done in this dungeon. Because, man oh man, that is one sucky glitch. Still really surprised that it is an undocumented glitch. I'm still fairly certain, by the way, that this glitch can be performed even in the original game. Now then, is there anything else I want to bring up? Actually, yes there is. This magic mirror. I didn't get to show you all on camera, but using the magic mirror after you defeated the boss, well, the game won't let you. Even if I had the magic mirror equipped at the time I defeated the boss, trying to use the magic mirror would just produce a buzzing sound. Once the boss is defeated, you have to collect your stuff in order to leave the dungeon. So, now you know. Let's not go that way. In fact, I don't need to go anyway. Any which way, something like that, because we're done with this episode. Which means, down at the bottom of the screen is all of my Patreons. And next time, we got ourselves a new item, which of course means that it is going to be time for another exploration episode. Possibly the last exploration episode. We'll see when the next episode happens. It ultimately depends on a certain bomb and whether it can be collected yet. But otherwise, yeah, this hookshot here is going to let us basically explore the rest of Hyrule. So, that'll be something. With that said, I will see you in the next one.